anyone who's been on our website or has watched the Changelog should know that Screenly is a security-first digital signage company.
This is true.
And you can't just say that, right? Like, that can't just be something that you want to be. You have to actually do that in practice. Hello, everybody. We are live.
We are.
For our first live Screenly Changelog. We're coming to you from an undisclosed location in Phuket, Thailand.
That's right.
We're happy to be here. Thanks for joining us, those who are coming live, and for those who are joining us in a few hours or days or whenever you watch this, welcome. What are we doing here? Why are we in Thailand? What's going on?
This is our annual summit. So for those not familiar, we at Screenly, we do an annual team summit at a location somewhere around the world.
Yeah.
Something we've been doing for about 10 years now, I think. We're a remote-only company. So, we're a remote company. We don't have any real offices. So this is where we get to hang out for a week together and kind of new people get to meet the team. Old people get to reconnect with their people they're working with every day. And it's fun.
Yeah, well, we've been so relaxed that I forgot to introduce ourselves.
Oh, shit, yeah, you did.
So context for the viewers, we just came from an hour Thai massage. So
this is true.
You know, we're trying to rev up with some instant coffee, but so my name's Daniel. I run marketing at Screenly, and co-founder and CEO Viktor Petersson is here.
Indeed.
And along with our entire team is also here in Phuket.
Wow,
so.
Short of a few members, but
a couple, but
unfortunately I think the vast majority are here.
Yes, I think if it's over 90%,
that's a good high,
so.
And the thing, not to derail entirely, but the reality of organizing something like this with how many different passports do we have across the team? Probably
over
10.
Over 10, yeah.
The logistics, and big shout out to Win for organizing all this, because getting visas and organizing this is not a chill feat. No. We're very far from the first summit we had in Croatia, where we just let's just rent an Airbnb and just squeeze everybody in. And
right. It was kind of like book tickets to we need some real logistics.
Yeah.
And essentially a travel agency.
Essentially, yeah. We have some members that this is their first summit. Yeah, and this is pretty cool. We have two guys that's their first summit.
Yeah, true. There's a few people who I'm just me. I mean, obviously I know them, and we've worked together in many ways, but
it's cool. We have one guy who's he's been with us for over 5 years, I think, and it's the first time we managed to get him to our actual summit. And it's been not for lack of trying.
Yes.
But because of bureaucratical reasons.
Yes, Sean, we're happy to have you here, Sean, if you're watching.
Yeah, it's super exciting.
So this is the Screenly Changelog. For new viewers, this is the show where we what do we do on the show, Victor? We
try to keep people
we make inflammatory comments.
some industry reflections
about current events and the horrors of the world. No, just kidding. That's not the show. That's our other show.
That's right.
This show, we talk about digital signage, the industry as a whole, also, Screenly and happenings here. So I think the first thing to dive into, so we're here in Phuket. We're doing the summit. It's great to meet everyone and work together. But I think there's also some broader things to talk about, if we zoom out a little bit. So, for the viewers, maybe you can talk a little bit about first of all, how is Screenly set up? Why are there people from everywhere? Why are we meeting in Phuket? It's a remote company. So what's that about? Did that happen after COVID or did that happen before?
So we've been doing remote for, me and my co-founder in Screenly, we've been doing remote stuff for 15 years now, over 15 years, approaching 20 actually. And this is a completely intentional move to be a remote-only company. And I think there's a saying that talent is equally distributed around the world. It's just hard to find it, and I strongly believe in that saying. Right, there are so many people that shockingly are outside the Bay Area, and they still know tech. Right,
unbelievable,
right? So we
Inconceivable.
I
That's
know,
the phrase
it's
that from
crazy.
Princess Bride.
Uh,
Guys, like inconceivable. Yeah.
Exactly. But like, so we have done managed remote team for 15 years or so.
Mhm.
One of the things that so when we did our first summit, that was more like, hey, let's just get the guys together and
Yeah.
just like meet
Right.
up. It was like we were what 5-6 people then, if that.
Uh-huh.
It's super easy to get something together. But the one thing that is hard to under emphasize is the cultural difference before and after a summit, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you experience yourself firsthand,
I
right?
do. Yeah.
It's just like you can be on meetups or Zoom calls all day long, but you only see a dimension of a person.
Right.
You don't see the whole.
Two dimensions.
True.
Yeah.
Fair enough. But you don't really like. There's something that happens when you're spending like a week together,
This is true.
and you just hang out. Like the objective of this week together is not to sit down by your laptop and just crank out code. That's not the point, right?
Yeah.
If you want to do that, you could dump that from remote, right? This is just like, let's go out, do stuff together, and just understand people better.
Yeah. No, for sure. I think like there is definitely a value in, I mean, just like getting the vibe of someone, and so like,
in particular when you're working with them on a day to day, like like Slack is our messaging platform, right? And like you once you understand somebody, it's easy to create. It's easy to have friction in a text only conversation.
Yes. Yeah.
But once you've spent time with somebody and when they write you something that you might have potentially be like offended by.
Yeah, like did you just write me a little pissy comment? It's like no, like okay, they're
this
just
is their
like that's how
personality.
they interact, and they're actually like super warm and like
exactly. So like that was such a big difference before and after, right? Like being able to understand people for who they are properly, like as like a full human being rather than just an avatar on the screen, right?
Yeah.
So I think that is why we do this, and also like purely like financially, this is still cheaper than having an office space for everybody.
Also true,
right?
Yeah, cheaper and more fun,
and a lot more fun. And so like, what have we been doing this week? We have been surfing.
I can't say we've been working hard. I can't say
we
had like a good day of working, and then that was kind of it.
Yeah, I mean but that's not the point. Like if we want to be like, there are definitely conversations that will just have to happen.
Yeah.
Organically, right?
Yeah, no, we've done a lot. Surfing, hung out at the beach.
Yeah, we have.
Some people are going to a boxing match.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Maybe participating. You never know.
Well, we'll see. We'll see tomorrow.
Golfing's happening.
Yeah, we are.
Thai cooking.
We did a cooking class today. That's right. We did. What else have we done?
We've eaten a lot. That's kind of been like a 24-hour.
So we're setting it like we have like this big villa, but like with staff that just caters to everything. So it's super chill.
I'm actually never eating again. This is it. So I'm done at least till the new year. So
yeah, and I had my first surf.
This is true. Yes,
you're an avid surfer. So
I dabble. But so it's been fun. So okay. So remote work. These retreats and summits are certainly good for team building, and
anybody who's doing remote work, anybody who's a remote first company. The first thing I advise when I speak to people like fellow entrepreneurs is doing like dabbling with remote. It's like you need to get to people in the same room once a year is like, I would say one at minimum. Like if you can do 2 a year, that'd be great.
Yeah,
but it's not always viable, right? But once a year is, I would say, is hard requirement.
Yeah. And I think also like it doesn't have to be, and maybe it shouldn't be some like, big choreographed thing that like people have in their mind when they think of like, I don't know, like a WeWork, summit thing. This isn't. It's not a show.
This is by far the most well planned out summit we've had.
Yeah,
like,
true. Right? But like the point being, like it's not like a show. Like it's just to like
hang out,
come and hang out, and like.
So what's important? Like this is outside of signage, but for people watching this, right? Like for us, what's important when we do summits, like for me, it's good common areas, like where people can organically gather around, like because what you'll see is like people have like super like mini meetups, right? They're like, we talk about this. Well, let's go and just hash it out, right?
Yeah.
We've done that quite a few times this week already.
Maybe like the back end guys and then the hardware guys,
They say like organically, it's like, oh, we should solve this. Let's talk about this, and that happens organically to some degree. But like having the rooms for that and having a setup where like there are plenty of shared areas, I think that's a big one.
Yeah. Well, these summits are growing, and I think
they're becoming like much more of a monster to manage.
Yeah, and they're like they were like a house, and then they were like, this is a very large house, and this is now like
like a compound.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't really know what's next, but like
I don't know either. But we're almost at capacity at this house, so I don't know what's next.
So it's been it's been good. Fun. So beyond the social aspect and like the team culture and building aspect, I think another part that's important is also like some space for longer term project thinking and like creativity that comes from kind of these impromptu whiteboarding sessions.
Yes.
So
that's another thing. Always bring whiteboarding pens. Just use big glass windows as the whiteboard.
Yeah, or just some sticky notes and color it up. So and so like is a lot of the work like you see the GitHub commits, like no, but like the work that happens is longer term, like company philosophy, essentially alignment, and just like giving reason behind like, hey, what the hell are we doing, and like
because these is like what normally happens during the course of a year is like there are a lot of like these small conversations. We have our all hands so we can sync up every 2 weeks, but it's not the same because it's much more structured. Here it's more like, this wasn't clear to you, what we're doing, why we're doing X. That's those are important too. I think.
So that being said, I think at the summit for some of these things, and also around the periphery of it, we've launched already, or having Screenly set sail into some pretty big ideas. So projects and features or just new offerings for our customers. So maybe one place to get started is as they better know, anyone who's been on our website or has watched the Changelog should know that Screenly is a security first digital signage company.
This is true.
And you can't just say that, right? Like that can't just be something that you want to be. You have to actually do that in practice. And
a lot of people do, unfortunately, but
this is true. Yes. So one of the ways that we're doing this, among many, or one of the latest ways, is our bug bounty program. So Viktor, take it away. What is a bug bounty program, and why should people care about it?
So bug bounty program is essentially a way to, it's a set of rules of engagement for what's called like white hat hackers, meaning security researchers, to report findings about your software. So like it gives them a safeguard, like a safe harbor arrangement where, hey, if you abide by these rules of engagement and you find some security vulnerability, will not go to the police, right? That's kind of like setting the expectations there. That's a big part of it, right? And you say, here's what's in scope and here's what's outside of scope. And then you give them the channel to communicate that, right? So we have on our website, if you go in the footer, you see a bug bounty program. We've followed all the best practices. We have a security.txt file with all the details if you want to send like as an encrypted message and report that. And we've already had bug bounties actually that we paid previously from this, but now we can make it more a formal program. People can find vulnerabilities in our software. We want to know, right? And we are happy to incentivize that, right?
It takes time, and
it does, right? So I think it's a good thing. Like you do open a bit of Pandora's box because you're ultimately going to have a lot of like what we call them, like script kiddies. That's going to be like, oh, we found this really bad thing. Ultimately, it's not. right?
I see.
They would
It's just like automated bug
yeah, it's
bounty
always garbage. There's a lot of that.
Okay.
And so you have to fill that out. But like,
Yeah.
we are happy to work with security researchers that find real problems in our software because we want to know, like, how can we improve our posture if we kind of put a blind eye to that, right?
Do you think all software companies should have a bug bounty program?
So many do, but not that many really, like in objective speaking, but many do already.
Yeah.
According to some legal frameworks, you do this. Like I know we spoke about CRA last time around. CRA kind of mandates that you have this.
Yeah.
And it's just really best practice. And there are standards for what should be included and what shouldn't be included.
Yeah.
So we just try to follow that. But ultimately, it's about giving an avenue for security researchers to report in vulnerabilities in your software. So in scope for us, our web app and our player. So if somebody can find an issue with that, good job.
Yeah.
Like we don't want to, like
because I mean, like if it's a private company, or a private code base and not open source, like you don't have the benefits of a community reviewing and committing and finding things. So you have to incentivize it somehow.
I know, but it's more than that because it's common, and there are no shortage of horror stories where a security researcher has reached out to companies that they found like some severe problem in the product, and their play is to like go back and sue that guy, right? And that's like that is a terrible approach.
Right.
But there are plenty of examples of that in the security industry. A lot of companies, they rather turn a blind eye to this.
Yeah, well, I think also, like, particularly in companies with, hardware, edge devices, like, if you know about a vulnerability, you have to also deal with it. And like sometimes.
But not only do you need to deal with it, you also need to make sure that you push out those up to certain devices.
Right. So yes, exactly. So so talk about that in the context of digital signage, right?
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
even if a patch is found, like you have to get that to the devices. So
there was I mean, we alluded to this last time with Florian. There was maybe we should not disclose the vendor name, but there was a signage vendor, a significantly sized signage vendor that they literally had this. They had a massive vulnerability that discovered in their signage players, and the only way to fix it was essentially walk around with a USB stick to every single TV impacted to do a 1.2 gigabytes firmware update.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Which is crazy, right? That's not how it should work.
Yeah. So what are some of the things? How does Screenly position its hardware to anticipate and be prepared for these?
So security is a multi-dimensional problem, right? So there are plenty of precautions that we're taking to, even when there is a security problem in some part of our software stack, to reduce what's called the attack surface, or like this lateral movements from there, right? So we do a lot of things about price isolation and stuff like that. So like even if you were to compromise a small part of this, you can't like move on, and you're basically confined to a smaller part of this, so you have far less blast radius for what you could do potentially.
Yeah.
But that's part of the problem, or part of the solution. There will ultimately be problems. Then you need a way to assure your customers that you can actually make sure the devices are updated, right?
Yeah.
So we care about the life cycle of the devices. Like what we mean by that is we don't talk about a day zero event where you like deploy this player and it's probably safe then, fine. You've already updated in the factory and now it's secure. But we talk about the day 100, day 200, the day 300, like who owns and manages that life cycle. And that sets us kind of apart from many of the industry. Like we own that life cycle. We make a guarantee to our customers that we take care of that. Assuming you have the subscription and everything works, we take care of that life cycle for you so that you don't have to worry about it. And I think that's a big differentiator.
Yeah, because some of these deployments, there's hundreds of devices that are out there running across multiple locations, sometimes even multiple countries, and it's like, okay, this is an attack vector if it's not.
But it's
properly.
Terrible. Like I wrote an op-ed a while back in Invidis about signage being muchly out of scope for I mentioned last time for compliance, but it's worse than that. I wrote one blog post about Android in particular, but it's not necessarily like kicking on Android, but around end of life operating systems. which is kind of ties into this, right?
Yeah.
Android is particularly bad because Android can be fantastically secure. Don't get me wrong. Like Android is not a bad operating system. That is not the takeaway here.
Yeah.
The takeaway here is vendors being lazy, shipping end of life versions of Android to their customers.
Right.
If you have a bug bounty program here, like there's no even point of any bug bounty program because like you already like know that there will be vulnerabilities. Right. To loop that back to that conversation. So that's an important thing.
Well, I think a lot with like security and in general, but also, you know, in digital signage is like people throw around these buzzwords kind of just to have something on their front end marketing website, right? Like they want the keyword there, they saw it, it looks cool and trendy.
Sure.
It's like a search term to rank for, but you can't just like say things, right? You have to
you can, unfortunately.
Yes, you can, but you know, eventually it's going to be people who know what they're doing. They're going to say, well, hey, you know, what's the meat here? And I think one of those we've seen a lot is secure by design or secure by default.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, talk to me about. I mean, this is very much a buzzword, so maybe in general, but then also like, how does it really apply to signage?
Yeah, so secure by design, as it used to be called, and now it's kind of morphed into secure by default. This has become the more common phrase for it. Some that came out of CISA and been endorsed now by a large number of governments around the world, and it's none of it is crazy. It's just like do common sense, do best practice. Some of it is harder than other, no doubt, but just to give you some basic example of what's included.
Not like all the Wi-Fi passwords we found in Thailand?
Right, exactly. So
I don't know what the deal with that is.
So like not everything should have the password 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Yeah, it's like the whole city, at least where we are, is just like default passwords for everything.
Yeah. But that's a good example. So like default credentials are a list that's one of the things that you cannot have as part of
I feel like that's like step one for security. Like, is there anything more basic than that?
It's like having your ATM PIN code being 4 zeros, right?
Don't tell my PIN code on there.
Shit.
This
sorry,
is rude.
Sorry, Daniel. Go and block your cards now.
Yeah.
No, but it's what's secure by design is good is because it's some of the things in the program tend to be rather sophisticated. Some of them tend to be lower. It's like don't use default passwords.
Yeah.
Try to encrypt everything you can. Like don't send shit over plain text over the internet, right? Stuff like that is covered in there. And there's basic common sense. Like if you're building software today, you should not be doing this. Like you know that. Any engineer worth their salt knows this stuff.
Yeah. And I mean, like it's not as though these are like secret, or in many cases they're not even like very technically complex. But I think it's really like a cost trade-off thing where like you have to, you know, invest some resources to like do it the right way, and it's easier and cheaper to cut corners in many cases.
Yeah. And there's and that's purely financial. If you would look at it, that's probably what you would do, right? But then there are more complicated things. Like so, one of the things that secure by design calls out is for using memory safe languages. So like Rust being one of those. That's also again very good security best practices. No, that one is a lot more difficult because you can't just go and throw out the existing code base and like rewrite it. It's going to be much more difficult to do. At Screenly, we abide by this. Like I'm not saying everything that we have is written in a type safe language because it isn't, but everything that we touch and we update, we move it to Rust, right? So it's an ongoing thing that we're doing, and it's going to take us a while to do, and you probably not going to get to 100% there, right? But the aspiration is there. We're doing everything with time we're touching something, we try to make it better from a secure and performance perspective than it was before, right?
Yeah. All the security talk, I was thinking it was making the hairs raise on my neck, but I'm realizing it's actually not that. It's a combination between the sunburn I have and then the tiger balm that was just lathered on my neck. So you see me wincing. That's
it's not about the security.
Yeah, it's not about the security. It's because we have it taken care of. So
it's true. It's true. Yeah.
There's nothing to be worried about. You know,
Fair enough.
we can rest assured here.
Fair enough. Yeah.
I also see the surfing scars on your knees as well.
Oh yeah, I did scuff my knees pretty bad actually. Yeah. But you know, it was fun.
I feel like it's those like sniper movies where they're like trying to be incognito, and then like they see the I think it's like an elbow, like sniper elbow, and then like they're like, got you. It's like a secret
yeah, it's
thing.
like one surfing session, and I'm like, I got my.
That's right. It's cool. It's like part of
it's part of the vibe.
Yeah. Anyways, okay. So a little detour there. So, well, I mean, I think with some of these security precautions, like, okay, yeah, is it bad that like some companies are cutting corners? Sure, but it's happening, and so like, obviously that is a part of the market where there's an equilibrium being met, and like people are fine with that. And I think part of that is because like many consumers don't know and don't really care about it when you're running a signage deployment that's in like, it's just like one screen and like a one-off clothing boutique, right?
Yeah, like a mom and pop.
Yeah, like they're not super worried about a hack or something. Like they don't even have
the
like
budget to do it.
They don't have a budget. They don't even have like a network. Like it's like rock on, do whatever you want, and
put a USB stick in there.
Yeah, exactly. But more and more people are caring, and I think one trend we've seen in the industry, it was highlighted a lot when we were in Orlando at Infocom.
Yes.
Is like this move from signage being something that third-party AV teams and shops like come in and they do the signage, and companies are realizing like, okay, like it's not really just a one and done thing.
Yeah.
There needs to be management. We want to grow the deployment. There's a whole thing on like what to do for content. And so in many cases, that responsibility is coming under like the internal IT umbrella.
I mean, yeah, kind of, right? It's so what we're seeing more and more is, and this is regardless if you're an external or internal arrangement, but and again, Florian kind of confirmed this. There's just not like an isolated data point for us, but AV is being swallowed by IT. That's generally speaking the trend, right? And for good reasons, because I mean, if you go back like 15 years, most AV gear was not connected to a network, right? It made sense to be completely like isolated as a unit, right? They connected projectors and they connected TVs.
But then it all went to school and became smart.
That's right. Yeah. So now everything in the AV team is connected to the internet, including signage, of course. Now all of a sudden you have a whole new dimension again of security that you never had to care about before, because before things were connected, like what if your projector had a vulnerability? Like the attack surface there is very small, right? Yeah. But now it's all on the network. And if you're the CISO of that company, like, wait a second, who approved all this stuff?
Right. Exactly. So there is a internal stakeholder who is responsible for security.
Oh yeah, like the CISO's head is on the line, right?
Yes, exactly. Like this is their job, and if there is a hack, they're the one responsible. And so there's cases now where like a new guy comes on the job, and like day one he does like a network scan, and he's like, okay, what the hell are these? Like,
that's right.
In some cases, hundreds of devices, and people are like, well, I don't know.
Johnny deployed those 5 years ago.
Yeah, we had this team, and they came in, and it works, and it's like, okay, well, here we got hundreds of things that are not locked down.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I think there's more like, because of those types of interactions or like shifts of responsibility, the signage players and screens being secure is mattering more and more.
100%.
And so we're seeing that, and we're seeing people then having to dig into the security of their digital signage provider, and in many cases, as we know, we're getting the other end of that, where it's like, hey, we're looking for a solution because we found what we had is like not acceptable.
Well, I mean, it's also like recapping what Florian, again, like I keep going back to the conversation with Florian, but he had a lot of nuggets of wisdom, like the fact that Power BI,
episode 13,
I think, 13, but the fact that so much of signage broke the second the Power BI app started requiring a relatively recent version of Chrome. And we said relatively recent, well, not Chrome, but browser. Like, there was an outrage in the signage industry because everybody's using like a 5-year-old browser.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah,
just like,
exactly.
and they had no vehicles updated, right?
Right.
And now,
right.
like, we talk about some of the big players doing like, ooh, they might do 1 annual update or 2 annual updates. It's like,
yeah.
that's not how
Of which
software
gets
works.
to like 10% of the players.
Yeah, by hand, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that's not how it's supposed to work. It's supposed to be fully automated. We, as a vendor, that's our headache, not the customer's headache. So, like,
Yeah.
stop giving the customer headache because you don't have like a proper OTA vehicle in place.
Yeah. Well, security is an endless
It's never done.
pursuit, right?
It's never done.
Not. It's not just like check mark.
Yeah. We work on internal SLAs. Like, we're building
Yes.
internal SLAs for like how quickly from a vulnerability being disclosed and fixed to how quickly we can get those out to either devices or to the backend, right?
Right.
Like,
exactly.
that's the future. That's like, you need to be able to get that done, and which means that to the backend you need to be able to deploy like multiple times a day. Like,
Well, it's crazy because like even those like again these aren't like rocket science frontier ideas, but like in the digital signage industry, like it's kind of new. Like there's not really anyone else talking like
most
that.
people come from the AV world, right? So like this is kind of new to them.
Exactly.
Right? And I mean, you need to do this from the ground up. Like, we discovered the issues we had in our first version of our signage screen, the V1, if you remember. We had issues with doing this at scale, right? So that's why we had to go back some 10 years ago now to the drawing board, because we knew this was the stuff we would have to do, right?
Yeah.
So we solved that back 5-10 years ago. Well, it's probably 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But a lot of vendors still haven't come to that realization. So they're still running on some kind of Debian fork on their signage players. And then they're like, oh crap, we have no good way of actually managing updates here. Like, particularly not between major and minor versions and stuff like that. So things go well.
Yeah. So enough with the nerd talk. Victor's other podcast is Nerding Out with Victor.
That's
so this
true.
is a self-appointed.
I need to rein myself in here.
Yeah, this is a self-appointed term.
That's true.
Self-inflicted wound, however you want to
very
phrase
true.
it. So,
very true.
I think, and I say that because I would say a year ago, maybe even 2 years ago, we made a big push that we made a lot of good progress on, and I think we achieved our goals here of making Screenly developer-friendly digital signage.
Yes.
We wanted people to be able to build what they wanted to build, just as if it was another, web app project that they were working on.
Correct.
Without having to deal with all of the essentially headaches, but things that we spent many years optimizing, so that they could focus on the things that delivered business value.
Correct.
And so what I'm setting the stage here for is, at the beginning of the podcast, we talked about how at summits here, we kind of like to zoom out and focus on the, kind of the philosophical underpinnings of some of the things that the business is doing.
Yeah.
And reflect on some of the bets we made and whether they got us to the direction we want, if we got to, make a different tact. So with that introduction, one of the main parts of the nerd talk of developer-friendly digital signage was our Edge Apps platform,
yes.
which we're rebranding and renaming. But first, explain to the audience, what is an Edge app? Something we're still going to have forever. What is an Edge app? Why is it different from just an app? And why is this kind of novel in the signage world?
Yeah. We built the Edge app runtime environment, or development runtime environment, to solve a problem we had ourselves, which is if we wanted to develop something that could run, like, imagine a basic thing like a weather app. Yes, we could just create a weather app website and point all our screens to that and say, hey, we have a weather app. That's cool, but it's not the best vehicle for signage, and for a few reasons. One of them being, what if a thing goes offline, right? What if, like, and how can we reduce time to rendering? Because the last thing you want on a signage player or a signage screen is a half-rendered weather app, right?
Yes. It doesn't look good.
It doesn't look good, right? A broken image, all that stuff, right? So with the edge of environment, we took the best of both worlds, right? We took the runtime and the familiarity of the web interface that most web developers are familiar with, or developers are familiar with, and then we put a wrap around that essentially, and we have this environment called Edge Apps, which is an environment that runs directly on the device. We haven't fully unlocked the full potential of that yet, but even today, you can build application runs directly on the screen. And that's important because there's no latency, because you're serving things local on device, which means they can render super quick.
Yeah.
But there are also functionalities for caching there. There are functionalities for managing secrets. So instead, if you're doing some interface with like a third-party API, you need to have a API token in there. We have built all those things into the environment, so you can manage and deploy these apps from your command line interface, the screen command line interface. You build them and deploy them just like you would with anything serverless environments or something like that, right?
Yeah.
So we built all this for that, largely solve the problem for ourselves. So we can build all these things that we have in our app store, in our GitHub on Playground on GitHub, all that stuff. But we built it initially, solve our needs, but then we expose it to our customers so they can do that as well.
Yeah. So there's a lot of really like interesting custom work people can do, integrating their signs with their existing tech stack databases.
Speaking to customers that are building things around their internal data, like they might have like an ERP they want to pull from, build out a dashboard that can pull in real time from their network. And that's the thing, that one of the big benefits about having this running on the device, that if the device sits on your network, that device can speak to internal endpoints that we wouldn't normally would be able to communicate to, but we don't even need access to them. Only the player need access to them, right? So we can't access that from the back end. So that's a big difference as well, a big value.
So not just using your existing tech stack and data to build content, but also triggering content also is a key component.
Yeah, so like that's something that we still haven't worked out fully yet. That's what I was about to say. Like we haven't exposed all the functionalities, but that's things we're adding even more, so that you can trigger things based on events, right? So and then loop that into the development environment. Yeah, I don't want to speak too much about that yet because we haven't fully exposed those features yet, but there's plenty to be done there on the roadmap that we want to build as well.
Right. So with Edge Apps, essentially enabling people to build custom software for their digital signs without having to essentially deal with every AV problem in the world, forever. I think though, like looking back over that effort, while we got there, I think, well, some of the discussions we've been having is that we've been leading with something that is maybe too complicated for initial deployments.
Correct.
Right? So these custom developer projects that someone would engage with if they're doing an Edge app from scratch or using one of our Playground code bases, these are really projects that come after several screens have been installed. That's what we've been noticing with our existing customers, is that, okay, they get their main thing, they get their menu boards up, and it's only several months after where they want to start tying it into inventory systems. Or things
it's more
that.
like it's a level of like sophistication almost, right? Or adoption side. It's an adoption circle, a cycle thing, right?
Right. So part of that, and what customers will see, users and prospective users will see on the site, is how we are repositioning our apps and our Edge apps to just a standard app store, right? And so that will have the mixture of whether they're Edge apps that are customizable or ones that are more just plug and play. You're going to see the logos that you're familiar with. You're going to be able to install them with just a few clicks. And then we're going to still allow people to have all that customization, but it's just going to be later down the line rather than the first step.
That's right.
Yeah.
So basically, you'll be a consumer before you be a producer, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's
And
a good way to put it.
we're making some great improvements, and I think it's live actually now on to make it more palatable to install these, because they were very much built for
Yes.
developers,
Right.
Whereas now we're taking slight minor pivot, right? It's like, well, there are two cohorts here. There's the consumer that will purely be a consumer,
Yeah.
but then there's another cohort that will then want to build things as well.
Yeah.
Beyond that,
I think one theme that I've seen Screenly adopting a lot more over the last year is just really focusing on giving the customer choice. So that's both in terms of the software components and apps that they use and how they use them, but also with hardware. Right?
Yeah, we're very opinionated in terms of what we do, but we do give people flexibility, right? And the reality is that the landscape is so different these days, right? Than it was just a few years ago with all the smart TVs and whatnot. So yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
So allowing people to have playerless screens.
And also the edge app environment still play ball there, right? So we can still use that,
right?
Except
exactly.
in a different way,
right. With some of the initial versions, there was not a lot more room to go to have parity with a hardware player.
That's right.
Yeah.
And one of the things we're doing now is, on that note, we just I believe that's live. It will be live by the time the podcast go live, at least. Is that we're doing we've rebuilt our Power BI edge app.
Yeah, that's a great example.
And much around usability, right? So it's going to streamline installation flow. We're leveraging some of the new functionalities that we have in settings. Yeah. But the cool thing is, again, this is all things that developers can use as well. Like all the things we build to make these apps more usable, prettier, easier to install, all that.
Yeah.
These are things that people can use themselves for edge apps they build. Right?
Yeah, I think that customizability is really key, because I think when a lot of people are evaluating signage options, it's like a 3-second judgment call that actually has dozens of hours of implications, where it's just oh, we see a logo wall and it's great. And it's not, it's true. The integrations are there in many cases.
But the word integration is a very vague
word. There's a huge spectrum of what that means, right? Yeah. And so people are oh, it integrates, and then they go with some provider, they buy all the hardware, they spend the man hours installing it, and then they go to figure out that Slack integration that they were really excited about, and they realize oh, they can't really do what they wanted, right? And and then that's it, and then their only recourse or next move is submitting a support ticket to this company that it's going to go nowhere.
Solve it,
And so we want people to be able to use it exactly how they want, and not have these last mile problems of having to deal with something that kind of sort of works. So we've been talking a lot, and we're live here. We have an audience on the web.
This is right. This is our first live version of this podcast. Right. Well, first question.
We should show some love to the audience.
The question is, what does the future of digital signage look like?
Okay,
that's a good question.
They should read Florian's yearbook.
It's true. You should read Invidis yearbook.
Florian, if you're watching, I hope you like that.
Yeah,
we're a friend of the show.
That's right.
Yeah. No, but on a serious note, I think one big shift that I think is worth talking about is how much security will actually kind of coming back. It will be forced upon players, particularly in Europe with EU's CRA. Signage is included. People will have to start paying attention to that.
Yeah.
Which means that, depending on how the CRA plays out from a legal perspective, but it will block a huge number of vendors from the market to participate. Because there's no way they can there's no way they can play ball, right? If you go on AliExpress, whatever, you buy a signage player, it will certainly not meet the CRA. And
I feel too, with those regulations, people just kind of file it in the back of their mind as oh yeah, it's coming, it's out there, and then before they know it, it's like, hey,
Yeah.
here you are.
So that's
Here's your fine.
yeah. So that's gonna be an interesting one, right? I think
Yeah.
that's a big part. I going back to like the whole thing of signage being kind of swapped by IT and what AV being swapped by IT. I think that has very big implications on the future of signage because that buyer is so different than
Totally different,
the AV buyer. Like the signage buyer, the IT manager, VP of engineering, whatever it is, the questions and the things they look for looks very different than what the AV manager will look for. Like an AV manager will say like, oh, does this integrate with insert blank AV vendor? That's the kind of the more question you get there. The signage, the IT guy, you're gonna have to follow the procurement guide for their onboarding software vendors, right?
So it's not enough to just say we have an Instagram app, like
Hopefully
you can show your pictures.
Hopefully not, but like you need to prove things. Like you need to prove that you've done things right. Like what's your pen test report? Like, oh, you were adhering to these frameworks. Tell me about your best back development practices, all that stuff, right? That's going to have impact for a lot of vendors, I think. Now, how much that will spill over to the US from Europe, I do not know. But it's fair to assume that for the bigger international vendors, they will probably bring the same practice to the US as to Europe, because like once you've done it, there's absolutely no reason why you wouldn't keep doing it.
Yeah.
Right. But I do think that the big vendors, I'm not sure they were aware of this, or like I'm not sure it's on their radar. And if it is, there are probably a lot of panic discussions happening.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big thing.
Yeah. So future of digital signage, but that's also not just like some random time. It's like this is
like
months away.
December 2027, I think it's the full enforcement date, and that's like
and there's a bunch of like milestones before.
That's right.
Too.
There's a soft go live, and I think it's August of next year. I think there's a go live for like the soft part of the framework, but then so I think that's going to have a big change.
The lawyers are like, let me just get some more billable hours. Let's put some pre-checks. You know?
That's right. That's right. What else? I think integrations become kind of table stakes these days. Like you need to integrate with things. Again, going back to what you were saying, just because the vendor says they're integrating with X doesn't mean anything. Like do your homework. Like we've spot checked the thing, a few things across the industry whilst we're here, and it's just like, no, sorry, but this is not integration, right? Just because they have a logo doesn't mean they have an integration.
Yeah, some of them were literally like, go to the website, export your graph, and re-upload it.
Yeah, like your live graph.
It was like here's how you use a computer.
No, so like that's another thing. Like integration is important, but like for people buying signage, like look what that means. Just because you have the logo doesn't mean they will do the thing that you think it does. Yeah, and I think that's you made a good point about that.
Yeah, people
are so like gullible, I guess, in some ways. They they just see the logo and they assume that because the logo is there, they think it would do what they want it to do. Right. But those are not the same thing.
Right. Everyone thinks that other people are thinking what they're thinking about.
Correct.
And that's not true.
Correct. Right. So do some homework on that. What else do you think is the future? What do you think the future role for signage was?
Well, here's the deal. I think we gotta follow the footsteps of all the FANG companies, right? We gotta get that little like Siri-like moving graphic on the corner, that little Gemini sparkle, and just say AI digital signage.
Yeah, that's right. AI,
and then you click that bubble and you're expecting magic.
That's right.
But you just get fed
Siri integrate this with my
you just get fed a instant token stream of lies and disappointment.
That's right. It's hallucination.
Yeah, I mean, I say that jokingly because like I feel like every company, like they have like someone comes and they're like, we need AI, and so they just like throw an LLM like into the mix.
Let's throw some AI at the problem. It will solve it.
Thanks. I really like using ChatGPT in this app.
Yeah.
I do think there is some room for like AI interfacing. Yeah, I think 100%. So, basically things that are now part of a point and click interface, aka like the whole internet, and in other cases people use like the Screenly CLI to do a bunch of commands at scale.
Yeah.
I think translating that to just like someone using natural language, or even like how most people use it, which is like a worse variant of natural language, which is just like half the words, and they expect AI to figure it out. I think there's some room for that. Yeah. So just like, hey, you know, change the schedule for this playlist on the screens, right? And, and just figures it out and does it.
Yeah, 100%. Like for those things, I think natural language input, it makes a lot of sense, right? That's something that adds value.
Yeah,
I feel like, right? Because that it can interpret that and do well. Now, of course, that opens a Pandora's box around privacy, around security, all that jazz. But as a use case, I'd buy that. That can make sense, right?
Yeah, it'd be cool. Yeah. Right, yeah, it'd be cool. So
content creation?
Yes. Yeah. I think some people probably jumped the gun on that, but you know, yeah. You know,
I mean, we can all spot like a ChatGPT graphic like a mile away, right?
Well, you know, we're in Thailand and all the text looks like some variation of Thai.
Yeah.
When you try to do like a you know, AI content like menu board, it's like you get the table and then but the text is just
it's just gibberish.
Yeah, it's just kind of swiggle. So
this is made up language.
Yeah. So anyway, so the room there. I think,
yeah.
So.
I think the one thing I'm excited about is being able to do preventive maintenance.
Yes,
using
that's a big one.
AI, because it's not. I think it was Dave who said that when he was on the podcast, and we asked him the same question. Right? It's like it's not the front end stuff where AI is exciting for signage.
Yeah.
Yeah, at some point in the future, absolutely we'll have like AI generating content. That will happen. We're not there yet.
Yeah.
Like the ones we have today, the models today, they're too crap for that,
not
right?
There. Yeah.
But having AI parse through a bunch of logs to basically find issues before devices are failing, well, that's a good use case for AI.
Yeah, like, so just take all these like 50 sensor inputs and figure out when there's problems.
That's right. Like pattern recognition, like they're great for that. So I think that's much more in line with what I think the future of AI is for signage.
All right, let's see if there's anyone else chatting about.
No more questions from the audience so far.
We answered them all.
We also,
you know, we just
it was too. We're too.
At Screenly, we like to
clear.
we like to anticipate. You know,
we got them before.
We like to be on the vanguard.
Yeah, we had 20 questions pending, but they're all gone now. We will answer all the questions.
Like, please, thank you.
Yeah.
I think this has been good. I like the live format. You know,
maybe we'll do the next one live as well.
Yeah, only in tropical paradises. That's the.
Well, I guess we will have to schedule. Like, we just have to go to tropical climate every 2 weeks.
It's just like a surfing.
I mean, surfing is. I think we can make surfing a hard requirement for next summit. I feel
like Viktor's hooked.
I think it's. I like the surfing vibe.
Yeah, Viktor was hooked. He liked it.
I just need to wait until like next month till my knees healed.
Yeah. This is true. Also, like back muscles, like.
Oh yeah, like I feel beat.
Yeah. But you were swimming a lot.
Oh yeah, we went on a boat trip.
I feel like swimming's harder than surfing.
Hard in a different way.
Yeah.
But yeah, we went to go some swimming. We saw some. I mean, swimming.
Oh yeah, we also did that. We didn't mention that. We went on like a 2-hour boat journey to the middle of nowhere.
Yes.
But it was really beautiful when we got there.
In the middle of nowhere. Yeah, exactly. That was fun. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's been a great summit, and it's been really fun meeting everyone, and you know, talking shop and talking smack as well. So it's all about.
It's a bit of each. It's a bit of everything. So, and yeah, so
I'm just gonna check my show notes. I think we covered.
Did it cover everything?
Covered all the big ones.
We're almost up on time, so I think that was pretty well planned.
Yeah, I think it was.
Did we miss anything?
I think that's it. You know, like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe. That's right.
Sign up for your free trial. You know, all the good stuff.
All the good stuff. Yeah. Good. So. All right. Well.
Oh yeah. Thanks for joining, everyone. Another episode of the Screenly Changelog in the books, and see us on the next one. Thanks for tuning in.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody. Cheers.